Reds won as we welcome you back to Pittsburgh, PA. Game 162, the finale of 2019 as the Reds and Pirates close things out today here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi again, everyone, with Chris Welsh. I'm Jim Day. Big news here in Pittsburgh. Clint Hurdle relieved of his managerial duties with the Pirates. We'll talk about that going forward. But for the Reds, Chris, when you look back on 2019, some of the big storylines will certainly be the middle of the lineup, Aquino and Suarez. And let's start with Aquino in that historic month of August.
You know, when you group those two guys together, Jim, I can't help but I think that there's some accountant in the Reds offices somewhere thinking ROI, return on investment, baby. And when you talk about Aquino, you're talking about a large return on investment. Remember, he was made available to every major league team out there last year if they wanted to draft him in the Rule 5. They didn't. He turned around and re-signed with the Reds. And boy, a good thing he did. He absolutely was on fire during the month of August. Set all sorts of rookie records. Also, he was a player of the month. So congratulations to Aristides Aquino for a job well done.
It's been an historic season for Eugenio Suarez and a terrific month of September.
Hey, ROI for this one, too, because they didn't cost very much to get Suarez away from the Marlins, or from the Detroit Tigers, that is. But he's a guy that, you know, as the season goes on, you're playing more and more for yourself, fewer and fewer games for your overall ball club. It's hard to get yourself going. You can see some frustration here sometimes in Suarez when he walks, for instance, instead of being pitched to. You know he wants another couple of home runs. Maybe he'll get an opportunity here to go deep today.
All right, Lefty, I know you got one left in you. One final time. Here, no, not to pitch, to broadcast.
Okay. Whew, you scared me there for a minute, big boy.
Reds and Pirates, straight ahead on Fox Sports Ohio.
Furniture Fair. For style and flair, choose Furniture Fair. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time. A nice day for baseball here in Pittsburgh. And you know, when Major League Baseball brought in the wild card, they hope to have excitement. Then the second wild card, well, that's exactly what they've got. And that brings us to our T-Mobile connection to the game. What am I talking about? Well, it's going down to the last game. Here's what's at stake today. With a Cardinals win or Brewers loss, the Cardinals win the National League Central. With a Cardinals loss and a Brewers win, the Cardinals will host a 163rd game tomorrow for the right for the division title. The loser will travel to Washington for a wild card game on Wednesday. And Jim and Chris, you know what that means? A date with Max Scherzer, and no one wants that. Fellas?
A lot on the line here today, and if you're wondering why we were starting after 3 o'clock Eastern time on a Sunday day game, MLB wants all the games to start at the same time, so no one has an advantage of knowing one team loses, and perhaps you would sit a pitcher out or sit a player out, etc. An even slate here as we play 162. Here's your Furniture Fair Reds lineup. There's Jose Peraza. He will lead off once again, albeit this time at shortstop. Votto in the 2 spots. Suarez, Aquino, Van Meter in the middle. Kyle Farmer gets the call at second base. Kurt Casale behind the plate. Brian O'Grady in center field. And batting ninth and pitching, Tyler Mahle. On the mound for the Pirates, 27 years of age, Trevor Williams.
Trevor Williams had a breakout year last year. His earned run average down around 3. And they thought, well, this is the beginning of a new end for, or a whole new career for Trevor Williams. And he just kind of fell back a little bit. Right now, he's looking up into the broadcast booth of the Pittsburgh Pirates where Steve Blass is. And there is Steve, who announced his retirement, had a ceremony on the field last night after being with this organization for 60 years. What a great touch by Trevor Williams. Now the entire ball club and all the fans are on their feet.
And we will stand as well, and pardon the clapping in the background. Steve Blass, one of the finest gentlemen you will ever meet. Not only in the game of baseball, but the game of life. 60 years in professional baseball. 60 years with the Pirates organization as a player and a broadcaster. And the finale comes today. And this will be a theme throughout the day. You can expect, and Blass overcome with emotion here. And rightly so. His life has been the Pirates, has been baseball. And this will be a theme. You'll see many players coming to the plate today and tip their caps before at-bats, etc., and well deserved. Peraza swings at the first pitch. It's a ground ball to short. We are underway. Here's your forward defensive alignment for the Pirates. Reyes flanked by Elmore and Cabrera. Gonzalez, Newman, Frazier, Osuna, and Jacob Stallings behind the plate. Steve Blass, there's his signature, or number 28. And most remembered for that 1971 World Series. He still remains the last National League pitcher to throw a complete game in Game 7 of the World Series, and still just overcome with emotion. 2 outs. And that signature out there, I hope that they take that part of the wall out and put it somewhere special. If not, give it to that man. Boy.
You know, in a lot of ways, Steve Blass reminds me of Joe Nuxhall.
It's a great comparison.
And not the least of which is that both of those guys can cry, and cry a lot, at the drop of a hat.
Yep.
And just imagine how Nuxhall would be if he were here today to see the honor that they just gave Steve Blass.
Suarez into left field and making a sliding catch is Elmore. The Reds are done in 1-2-3 fashion in the third. As we check out their lineup, brought to you by Furniture Fair. Frazier will follow Newman. Cabrera, Jose Osuna in the cleanup spot. Pablo Reyes, Jake Elmore, Stallings, Eric Gonzalez in the 8th spot, and batting 9th and pitching, Trevor Williams. And there again, tip of the cap to Steve Blass. Tyler Mahle on the hill, the birthday boy, celebrating number 25 today. Uh-oh. He's ready to take some hacks. Pitcher with a bat. He did the game here Friday night. He had a pregame ceremony yesterday for Steve Blass. He did not broadcast the game last night. Holding a bat there, perhaps from a Pirates player, perhaps from Kevin Newman. Speculating there. Newman was the hero Friday night with a walk-off home run. 2 home runs in that game. Maybe that's the bat from that game. Mahle had no balls and 2 strikes. It was supposed to be Trevor Bauer today for the Reds. He's another one of these Reds players, and they've been inundated by sickness for the last few weeks. It's been unbelievable how it's spread through the team. Made it to Pittsburgh yesterday, but still just unable to pitch.
And how long it has lasted. I mean, this little virus that's gone around has taken a lot of different forms, and is just very persistent.
Up and in, and tied up Newman, and down he goes for out number 1.
Today, Tyler Mahle is pitching on 3 days rest. Now, he only lasted 2 1/3 his last time out. He makes his 25th start of the year. He was on the IL, as you remember, with a knee problem earlier in the summer. Don't know if he's going to be out there long enough to get a chance to improve on the record that he's put up so far this year. We'd like to forget that record overall. And, you know, if anybody's ever pitched better than his record shows, I think Mahle is that. But he has found a way in a lot of ball games to make a bad pitch at the wrong time and end up, you know, either sucking up a lot of earned runs or ending up with an L. But the fact that it is his birthday today reminds you how young he is. There are a lot of young men who are in the Reds minor league system at 25 years old that are still trying to find their way through AAA.
Oh, yeah.
And this is his third season in the big leagues.
0-2 pitch. Votto charging. Glove flip. 2 outs. Here's how the Reds will line up defensively. Brought to you by Ford. Van Meter in left. O'Grady in center. Aquino in right. Suarez will bid for 50 home runs today. Peraza, Kyle Farmer, Votto, Kurt Casale getting the final call behind the plate. And the batter is Melky Cabrera. Mahle will go into the offseason. No matter what happens today, it'll be a big question mark. If things stay the same, the Reds keep the same pitchers coming back. Top 4 pretty much decided the 5th spot as we sit here now, not knowing what the Reds will do in free agency or trades, etc. He would go in with the inside track to have that 5 spot, at least on paper in the offseason. 1-1 pitch.
One of the things that the other right-handers, and they're all right-handed, in the Reds rotation have shown this year, and I mean, they're all very good pitchers, and they've had good, very big bright spots. Some of them have been dominating all year, like Sonny Gray.
Base hit by Cabrera.
But one of the things that they do that Mahle has not been able to do consistently is pitch to that first base side of home plate. When I watch Sonny Gray pitch, and he wants to paint that inside corner, man, he is right there underneath the elbows of a left-handed hitter. Same with Trevor Bauer on those days where he's got his good stuff. DeSclafani may be the best on the ball club at being able to run a little two-seam fastball back there. So, though, and Castillo, doesn't necessarily have to do that as much because his changeup has so much run on it. But I think Tyler Mahle does because his changeup doesn't have a ton of run. His fastball is fairly straight, and you've got to be able to pitch to that safe zone, which is low and away to right-handers and in under the elbows of left-handers. And that's one thing that he can get better at going into 2020 and beyond.
Still young enough to flirt with another secondary pitch, is he not?
Well, yeah, I think he is. I think that he's really become accustomed to throwing his fastball. He tried a curveball, his slider, harder breaking pitch, whatever you want to call it. Those are necessary. The changeup is one that he's gotten used to with a splitter. When you're sitting 4 days out of 5 next to Luis Castillo in the dugout, I'm bending his ear to try to learn how he throws that changeup.
No question at all. Aquino has it. A hit, a man left. We're through 1 in Pittsburgh.
Reds decade leaders from 2010 to 19 pitching. Look at that. Cueto at 272, Chapman 217, and Homer Bailey almost 870 strikeouts, hits. Votto with over 1,500 home runs, 231, 759 RBI for Votto, and Billy Hamilton with 277 stolen bases. Big numbers.
Can't believe we're closing out the decade of baseball today. And like yesterday, Jay Bruce was sitting one over the wall in center field. Reds won the 2010 National League Central Division Championship. Two balls and a strike on Aquino. 18 home runs, 46 RBIs in less than 2 months. 2-1 pitch. Wind up in the 2-2. Milwaukee already out to a 2-0 lead in Denver. 2-run home run, Yasmani Grandal in the first. Cubs and Cardinals, middle of the first, scoreless. Brewers win, Cardinals lose. 1-game playoff tomorrow. High fly ball, left field. Aquino. Goodbye. Aristides Aquino trying to put an exclamation point on his 2019. And the Punisher strikes again. Trevor Williams, you've been punished.
Well, he gave him 2 pitches identical and the same at bat. Aquino took a previous one and was probably hoping, oh, please throw me that again. High, majestic, far, great hang time, and into the bleachers it goes.
Got the flex around third base. Most home runs in Reds history. Single season by a team. Now it increases to 225 in the year of the home run. .412 feet. The second he's hit at PNC this season. Now with 47 RBIs.
You know, that puts him tied for 4th on the Reds ball club for runs batted in this year. Suarez has 103. Yasiel Puig had 61 in the time that he was here. He was very productive from an RBI standpoint. Iglesias, Jose, has 59, and Joey Votto and Aquino tied at 47.
And again, folks, he came up August 1st as Van Meter sends one into the outfield for a hit. So a home run and a base hit off of Williams here in the second. The numbers are great for Aquino, but we've seen some growth at the plate. Now, there have been moments where he's been overmatched, but laying off of certain pitches, working the count, we've seen some growth as well in those departments.
I mean, as hard as these guys are throwing nowadays, every hitter in the league is overmatched at one time or another.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Pete Alonso just completely overmatched a couple of at-bats in Cincinnati, and then he also hit some bombs. And that's the life of the slugger. You take a hack, and sometimes you misread a pitch, and you look terrible. That's part of the territory of being able to hit the ball close to 500 feet. I think for Aquino, though, are the words of advice that came right out of his mouth. I simply need to be more patient going forward. They're making me chase. They're teasing me a little bit more. But when you make a mistake, you're likely to get a brand new baseball out of that umpire pouch.
And we haven't even talked about the defense. Covers a lot of ground in right field. Got a cannon of an arm. Now he can be more accurate, and that's something they'll go to work on. His accuracy, which they believe a lot is mechanically, but he's got the gun to work with. Can straighten out the mechanics a little bit, get a little more accurate. Now we're talking.
You know, if you're right, because the tools are there, but if he's a guy that was going to top out at, say, projected as, say, 15 to 20, 25 home runs, then you'd really start breaking down his defense.
Right.
But right now, with his power potential, you think, yeah, he plays fine out there.
Well, let's add this to the mix. He's a perfect 7 for 7 in steals. So project that out a full season.
Yeah.
We're talking about 15 to 20 stolen bases.
Yeah, and this is on a ball club that doesn't steal hardly at all. I mean, Puig and Senzel were the team leaders this year in stolen bases. Each had 14. Van Meter with 9, and then comes Aquino and Peraza, Jose Peraza, tied with 7.
Well, there's a lot of tools to work with. And you get a little protection in the lineup for him. Which of late he has not had. Swing and a miss, throw down to first, not in time. Down goes Farmer.
You know, one of the biggest things that teams have a tendency to do when they have a breakout player or a player that's had a breakout season like Aristides Aquino is concern about what is his attitude going to be next year. Is he going to show up like a showboat next year? You know, stop hustling, think that he hung the moon. Everybody tells him all winter long how great he is, and all of a sudden he buys into it. I don't think that's the key at all, or the problem never will be with Aristides Aquino. I mean, everybody that we've talked to in the Reds organization that had him before we ever really got to know him up here have said the same thing. Quality kid through and through, cares about his teammates, humble. You know, they've tried to get him to showboat his home runs a little bit, and he says, that's not me.
Well, teammates love him. And they did at one point. They were saying, hey, listen, you can hit all these home runs. Don't be afraid to showboat a little bit. Even flip the bat if you want to. If you want to be intimidating, and that way he says, no, I don't flip bats.
So the old people like him too.
There's been no showboating, and he honestly doesn't like attention. Really doesn't enjoy doing interviews. Now, there's that language barrier, which he's worked on. The interviews we've done with him, he'll use an interpreter just to make sure he understands the question, but will answer in English. He's worked really hard on that. Takes a lot of courage to do it, but he doesn't like to talk about himself in glowing terms.
And I think he's got a great role model in Eugenio Suarez for a lot of those off-the-field type stuff. And he's got a good role model in Joey Votto. I mean, Votto, if all you've got to do is follow him around if you want to find out what work ethic is all about. And why you come to the ballpark and work hard every day.
Also talking about a guy that, I mean, he was signed professionally at 16. It took him a while to get here. He earned his way here. He was not given anything. When you're a high draft choice, a lot of times they'll move you through the organization even if you aren't putting up the numbers. He earned his way here. And I think he appreciates the path because it was a long one. And there were struggles along the way in the minor leagues. And we've documented it many times. He was left out there. Any team could have claimed him in the offseason, this past offseason. Making that number 44 proud, too. Little tapper back to the mound. They will get the out at second and first. But not before Aquino gives the Reds a 1-0 lead, middle of the second. Will still be open. Come check out the interactive Fox Sports Ohio studio desk within the Marty and Joe broadcasting exhibit. Kids 12 and under, as well as veterans and active military, receive free admission. Aquino, home run number 19. It's out to a 1-0 lead. Tyler Mahle goes to work in inning number 2. And the first pitch to Pablo Reyes shows bunt, offers. Reyes, Elmore, Stallings due up for the Pirates, who today are working under their former bench coach and now one-game interim manager Tom Prince, who's just joining us and haven't heard the news. Clint Hurdle and the Pirates parted ways today. It was announced by general manager Neil Huntington. And Hurdle, 9 seasons with the Pirates, and There's been a lot of inner turmoil this season, a lot of things that have gone on. But you can't deny what Hurdle did here in Pittsburgh after 20 straight losing seasons, turning that around and sending them to the playoffs, and he will leave with a winning record, 9 seasons, 15 games over 500. It was weird timing, though, because Hurdle went through his pregame routine today with the media. And they did all their exit interviews. They will. The TV will do their final interview with the manager. And then he was relieved of his duties after all of that.
Yeah, I thought that was very odd. I think it was even odder that he came out last week and said that he had been told that he will be back next year. And immediately, now we didn't see this part of that release, Jim. Immediately, the ownership group, or some people above Clint Hurdle in the organization, came out and said, we have not talked to Clint Hurdle or guaranteeing him anything for next year or years beyond, even though he had 2 more years left on his contract. That's Tom Prince, his bench coach, now running the ball club.
Line drive, base hit, center field.
And I'm wondering if that may have gotten under his skin of the owners a little bit.
Not the only change in the National League Central. Joe Maddon and the Cubs are parting ways. And this was expected throughout the ranks in baseball, but if you look from the outside looking in, what Maddon did there as the Cubs manager after 100-plus years without a World Series title, broke that curse. 4 postseason appearances. And if you're going to look at both sides, there are many people that are saying, hey, wait, there's some really bad contracts on that team. Was he hamstrung this year? That's for you to decide on an individual basis, but Joe Maddon will be a free agent starting now.
Now, you want to talk about hamstrung, talk to a small market club.
No doubt.
Not a ball club that's printing money the way the Cubs are.
Already speculation of where Maddon might end up. And if he wants to work, it'd be hard to imagine him not getting a job. After his success in Tampa Bay and then Chicago.
You know, I'm not so sure anymore. The personality of the manager is as important as it used to be. I mean, it used to be that he was the focal point of the entire organization, but now with the emergence of the analytics department, so much money being thrown into that area to try to make ball clubs better from the top all the way down to the bottom, I think it's how that manager works with the general manager, works with the analytics department, embraces what his coaches have to offer, that is now becoming much more of a focal point than having a big name guy that, you know, kind of stands out.
Ow. Not what you're looking for in any game, particularly game 162. And we'll pardon Elmore as he's taking a moment. Now back in. Well, we talked about the Brewers putting a 2 spot on the board in the first in Denver. Cardinals have done likewise against the Cubs. 2-0 Cardinals, top of the second. Two balls and 2 strikes on Jake Elmore. 2-2. Seventh pitch of the at-bat. And again got a piece. And looks like it got a piece of Casale as well. Goodness. Elmore returns the favor. 2-2 again. Swing and a miss. Pretty good battle won in the end by Mahle. His second strikeout.
Took a little bit off this pitch to get the strikeout right here. A little curveball, and you know, they're trying to come up with a pitch for Tyler Mahle that fits his repertoire. He throws a lot of high four-seam fastballs at the top of the zone. Very difficult to live high in the zone with your fastball and only down in the zone with a hard breaking pitch. And the idea, I think, is sometimes to get a pitch that you throw that comes out of the same spot in your hand as your high fastball. And that slow curveball may be an option for him. It worked certainly for guys going way back, guys like Jim Palmer and Catfish Hunter through that style. When they both, before it was trendy, pitched way up in the zone with their fastballs.
A ball and a strike to Jacob Stallings. The 71st game for Jacob Stallings here today. Pablo Reyes only has one steal and has been caught stealing one time, but is a stolen base threat when you look at his numbers in the minors. Ground ball charged by Suarez. His play will be to first. 2 outs. Mark your calendars for this year's Reds Fest at the Duke Energy Convention Center. Don't miss 2 days of fan interaction with current and former Reds players. You can get autographs, play bingo, take photos, and much, much more. For updates and details, visit Reds.com/RedsFest.
Hey, Jim, we were talking yesterday about the teams that have 100 wins in the American League at the Astros, the Yankees, and the Twins, right?
Right.
You got 2 teams, the Tigers and the Orioles, with 100 losses. But in the National League, I think the thing to watch today is this, other than the playoff race between the Cardinals and the Brewers. Well, I'll tell you when we come back. How's that?
What a tease.
Good. Stay with me.
That Chris Welsh is a professional. He knows a TV tease. Go further. By Kroger, it's easy to place your order online and pick up at the store. Try it today at Kroger.com. And by Gilkey Window, family owned since 1978. 1-0 Reds. Aristides Aquino. Solo home run, the difference in this one. As we reach the top of the third from Pittsburgh. A gorgeous backdrop beyond PNC Park. One of the best views you'll see in baseball. 8-9-1 to face Trevor Williams here in the third. And the first pitch to Brian O'Grady is a fastball just high. 179 is O'Grady. Home run, a couple of RBIs, and he knocked that home run off the list in the big leagues. First hit, obviously, and last night got his first big league double. In fact, he doubled twice. One pitch, and it hit him.
Absolutely the worst kind of hit by pitch if you're a pitcher. You're trying to go in, a hit breaking ball. Every pitching coach tells you the same thing. Drop that slider on his back foot. I don't necessarily mean literally, though. And you put a guy on base, he doesn't even get a welt.
Easy for you to say. Although it didn't look like it phased O'Grady, but who knows? He was a little slow getting back into the bag, maybe leaning.
Williams has a pretty quick move over there. And if he catch you going the wrong way, it looked like O'Grady was looking for one extra half step on his lead. And that's when Williams threw it over. And that's when, if you have a left-handed throwing first baseman, you know, you cut those leads down a little bit.
Mahle squares around the bunt and gets it down. Nicely done. His sixth sacrifice bunt this season. Tomorrow on Buckeye Weekly, 6 o'clock, Rick Pizzo and former Ohio State quarterback Stanley Jackson recap a 41-point win over Nebraska. Plus a look ahead of this week's matchup against Michigan State. Catch Buckeye Weekly every Monday at 6 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go.
All right, now I didn't want to leave you hanging. We're talking about the teams with 100 wins, right, and then the two teams in the American League with 100 losses. What you have in the National League today are the Dodgers with 105 wins and the Marlins with 105 losses. At the end of today, Jim Day, which team will have a bigger number?
As far as losses?
Well, no, I mean, the Dodgers have 105 wins and the Marlins have 105 losses. So which team, if they move off that 105 number, will the number be larger? I'm not asking you to predict, but I mean, that's just something you throw out there, that having fun with numbers.
Wow. That is the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Of course, one team will secure the top draft pick, and I think, who's got that locked down?
Someone in the American League.
Yeah.
Either Detroit or, let's see here. I've memorized the top of the standings, Chris Welsh.
Front runner.
The back end. Raza into right field. Brady will stay put at second base.
Melky showing everybody in attendance here he's still got something left in that arm of his out there in right field.
It'll be none other than the Detroit Tigers with 113 losses. Catch that?
I got it.
Kansas City, 103 losses.
So right now the Marlins are in second place with
105.
105, yeah.
Well, let's not forget about the Baltimore Orioles. 107.
Okay.
So Detroit, Baltimore. Boy, you lose 105 games and maybe 106 and you won't even pick first.
And in baseball, of course, even when you pick first, there's no guarantee you're going to get the guy.
Right.
And if you do get the guy, it could be a high school player, and he may not be around for 3, 4, even 5 years, depending on his advancement, staying healthy, and so on.
Oh, one to Votto. Nope. Pick off play at second again. O'Grady just back in there. And they're holding up play to see if the Pirates want to look at it. Close enough for their video guys to take a look. And they are going to review this. It looked very, very close from the naked eye. To see from that angle. Ow.
Well, he was very close at first base when Williams threw over with O'Grady there. He's probably sitting out there quite nervous right now.
He sure is. He's looking up at the board waiting for the replay. Second base umpire is John Tumpane. Your crew chief is Hunter Wendelstedt. Or is it? They have listed Hunter Wendelstedt.
Well, it is the crew chief, but evidently Hunter is deferring to John Tumpane.
Yeah, John Tumpane is the second base umpire today.
That's Dan Iasagna on the right.
Yeah. And he's safe.
Big sigh of relief out there by number 34.
Hunter Wendelstedt is down at first base. And it is normally the crew chief that goes to the headsets, but
there's Hunter.
Onward we play.
Hunter's probably anxious to get ready to get back down there to Florida to his umpire school. They have a professional umpire school down there, have been for a long, long time. Many of the umpires that are in the big leagues went through that school, and his dad was operating it.
Got a head start on that off-season beard. 2-1 the count on Votto. Two and two. Two pitch. Line drive, but right at the right fielder. Cabrera was shading in the right center. Middle third, 1-0 Reds.
Is now out of the game, and Kyle Farmer takes over at first base. But time now for our IGS bringing the energy. And when we look at Joey Votto over this last decade, his major league ranks. How about walks first, on base percentage first, OPS second, average second, doubles third, hits 1,532 is ninth. Solid numbers for Joey Votto as he ends the decade of 2010 to 2019, gentlemen.
Well, he lists those numbers, and it warrants the question. The last two seasons have been down years for Votto. There's no way around it. He's going to end this year batting .261. 15 home runs, 47 RBIs. But when you're talking about putting together an all-decade team, now if you throw out positions, because first base is a tough position, any type of all-star team. But those numbers, he's in the sentence, Chris. Especially for nowadays when you look at on-base percentage, 428, 306 batting average, second. Miguel Cabrera only one higher. Third in OPS. Only Trout, David Ortiz higher. And I know you love the WAR stat. Third in WAR in the decade. Only
behind who?
Trout and Robinson Cano.
Okay. I mean, there's no question that Joey Votto's had a tremendous career. And, you know, unfortunately, during his tenure with the Reds, they've had losing seasons, I think 6 of them in a row. So,
yeah,
you know, I'm sure that he would trade in some of those tremendous years in exchange for maybe a World Series appearance, maybe some playoff wins.
Oh, no question.
There's just, you know, there's no denying what he has done on the field, which has been remarkable. He's kind of rewritten. He was ahead of the curve when it came to being an analytics player, when it comes to on-base percentage and all. But, you know, you look forward and you're hoping that he and his production now will fit into the mix as the Reds go forward. And that's one of the biggest question marks that I think that the Reds decision makers are pondering right now. You know, where does Joey Votto fit in? Especially from the standpoint of loss of power.
Yeah, where does he fit in the batting order? Is he still a number 2 or 3 hitter?
Stay tuned.
Absolutely stay tuned.
I'm glad I'm not making any of those decisions because it's a very touchy subject, but it's also a very important subject.
Yep. Saul Farmer, he has taken over first base for Votto, moving from second to first, and Alex Blandino into the game. He is at second base. Two balls and 2 strikes, the count on Kevin Newman. Late swing. 3 strikeouts for Mahle. We're just trying to get a piece to stay alive. 2-out batter Adam Frazier. And a first pitch strike, a fastball at 96 from Mahle. First start of the season came right here in Pittsburgh. 6 innings pitched, scoreless baseball. Didn't walk a batter. Trying to start out strong against the Pirates. Trying to end strong against the Pirates. Fly ball into right center field. O'Grady calls off Aquino, and it's a clean third for Mahle.
Moments of 2019, one of my favorites, Eugenio Suarez on September 18th, home run number 48. That was a new record by Venezuelan players, the most ever, breaking Andres Galarraga. Afterwards, the whole team celebrated with him, gave him a big bottle of champagne, and of course they sang the Venezuelan anthem. That was pretty cool, guys.
Swinging for the fences on the first pitch, and drove it out near the track. A couple of fly balls by Suarez, and hopefully he'll get a couple more cracks at trying to get number 50. That night in Chicago was, said it before, say it again, one of the most genuine celebrations I've ever seen. Because there are some guys that some guys like and others don't, etc. It is universal, the love for that guy as a teammate. And they knew how much it meant to him to break the Venezuelan single-season record. And the largest bottle of champagne I've ever seen in my life. It's like 3 feet high.
And you egged him on to drink it right there during an interview. I thought it was great. Because a lot of players would just turn you down. But
I know, like, yeah. He's like, oh.
Why not?
And then he took a sip of it, and in classic Suarez fashion said, thanks to everybody. Second at bat for Aquino. He's the difference in the game so far. Solo home run in the second. Sitting on 19. StatCast AI powered by AWS. He knew it. 412 feet. 107.6 exit velocity. Excuse me. Exit velo.
That's better.
All the cool kids are saying it. And a walk. And again, we talked about it. There's part of the growth of Aquino. Being patient. Draws their 1-out walk. Well, it appears that the Brewers might have missed a golden opportunity last night as the Cubs beat the Cardinals, but St. Louis out to a 5-0 lead over the Cubs in St. Louis in the third. Brewers still 2-0 over Colorado. They are in the fourth. If those scores hold up, it'll be the St. Louis Cardinals winning the NL Central by a game. And Milwaukee will head to Washington to face Max Scherzer and the Nationals in the National League wildcard game. But long way to play in both of those games. And Meter shows butt, pulls it back and looks at a strike.
You know, we've seen a lot of batters shorten up and fake a bunt, or at least think about a bunt to the left side, but far fewer have actually done it. Even when you have an infield configuration like we do here today, where you've got a lot of space there on the left side for even a lousy bunt to gain you a base hit.
That was nice. You're an all-pro doodler right there.
I'm going to doodle all winter long, I want to tell you.
That was nice. And Meter fly ball in the left. 2 outs. And now the batter, Kyle Farmer. Farmer, a strikeout victim in the second, the only strikeout for Williams so far in this one. The 0-1 pitch. Had him played perfectly. And the Reds are done in the fourth. The man left. Still up 1-0 Reds.
Iglesias at shortstop. So what we decided to do was just put a bunch of his fantastic, magnificent plays together and just let you watch his brilliance at shortstop. Ozzie Smith, nah, he couldn't do some of this stuff. It's absolutely amazing what this young man has done all year long.
He's been a pleasure to watch. There's no doubt about that. The last few seasons, once Cozart was injured and then left the Reds, you looked out there and you just didn't see a guy that looked like a shortstop. That's not trying to demean anyone out there, but then Iglesias shows up this year and like, wow, okay, that's what a shortstop's supposed to look like. Where will Jose Iglesias be in 2020? Remains to be seen. He will be a free agent.
Yeah, he may want to borrow that highlight reel.
He's such a good guy. We'll let him have it. Look at Melky Cabrera busting it down there. And a very slow roller to Suarez.
Melky giving it to Suarez on the way to the first base there, on the way back to the dugout. Hey.
Might have been the other way around.
Yeah, you're making me run hard all the way.
You could see the little smirk on Suarez after he made the play. I love stuff like that. And Meter has this one, 2 outs. You know, last night, Stephen Barron left the game after coming up with his first big league RBI, and it was hit in the jaw with the baseball sliding back into second base. The Pirates have announced he underwent surgery today to repair a fractured lower mandible, which is the jawbone, and projected to have a full recovery and be ready for spring training in 2020. So we wish him the best.
Yeah, what a lousy way to start the offseason with a wired jaw.
Yep. No balls and 2 strikes on Pablo Reyes. Pirates have 2 hits. Reds have 2 hits. Difference, a solo home run, Aquino. And now the 1-2. Grounded right back to Mahle. He fields his position well. And Mahle, another 1-2-3 inning.
Of Reds baseball, here's today's Geico historical moment. September 29, 2000, at the St. Louis Cardinals, Ron Vallone tied a Reds record with 16 strikeouts in a 9-inning game. Vallone pitched a complete game, allowing 2 hits, no earned, and walked 5. Vallone tied the record held by Noodles Hahn and Jim Maloney. Ron Vallone, good dude, too.
Indeed. And anytime we can get the name Noodles Hahn on, it's a good day. I love some of the names back in the day, way back in the day. Latter third due up for the Reds here in the fifth. 0-1 pitch to Kurt Casale. Two-one pitch. Mile high into the air. This is the center fielder Reyes. Blowing out number one. 'Tis the season to book your holiday party at Great American Ballpark. Book now and receive a commemorative 150th anniversary Reds ornament for your guests. To upgrade your next event to a big league experience, visit reds.com/events. It's a nice place to host a party.
It sure is. And let me know if you're going to have one there, okay?
I will. I had to return the favor.
I'll come over and park cars, whatever I need. Or whatever you need.
Really? How long do you have? Let's start the list right now. I got 5 months ahead of me.
You know, we had a little conversation about Joey Votto, and I just started looking at, I love to do a little draft research. The Reds drafted Joey Votto in 2002, second round. Since that time, from 2003 to 2019, as far as drafting first basemen go, they have drafted only 2 first basemen in the amateur draft in the first 9 rounds. The highest drafted first baseman was Yonder Alonso. We took in 2008, subsequently traded him away. The second highest draft pick for a first baseman the Reds have had since they drafted Joey Votto is a batter at the plate, Brian O'Grady.
Wow.
They took him in the 8th round in 2015. I just think that's remarkable, and maybe it's because...
That is remarkable.
Maybe you draft away from your strongest position because Votto established himself not only as a major leaguer, but as an all-star and an MVP, and, a guy that there's no room at the end if you happen to be in the minor leagues playing first base.
O'Grady is one to deep right center field, and see you later. Brian O'Grady takes the tour. His second big league home run. 2-0 Reds.
He was telling me in the elevator today, I was kidding him about getting his 2 doubles yesterday, one of them off a left-handed pitcher. He says, I love hitting off left-handers. Well, in a way, facing Trevor Williams is almost like facing a left-hander because he's got that little changeup that goes down and away from a left-handed hitter. And keeping the ball in the ballpark has been a big time problem for Williams. But congratulations there to Brian O'Grady.
He could certainly go down and get it. The other home run that he hit, his first big league home run in Seattle, very similar. He went down and
getting in the car after the ball game today, heading east, back up to the burbs outside of Philly where his family's living, and got a friend of his being married next week, so it's going to be a very fine and fun off season for Brian O'Grady.
Oh, yeah.
It's great getting to know him.
Put himself in the sentence. Anytime you're a left-handed bat and you could swing it with power. And you talk about him being drafted as a first baseman, but he's shown himself well in the outfield.
Yeah.
He's
even in center field.
Good center field. So put himself in the sentence for the minimum of a bench spot next year. He'll have a much different outlook going into big league camp next year as he did this year. I mean, this year he knew it was the most remote of possibilities unless someone got injured. Down goes Mahle. Two-out batter, Jose Peraza. Half-hearted swing. No balls and 2 strikes. Williams with 2 mistake pitches. Reds trying to get to him. Finally, because he has certainly had success against the Reds. He has gone 5-0 with a 1.22 ERA and 6 starts against the Reds dating back to September of 2017. It's the most wins by any pitcher against the Reds during that time period. One-two pitch. Popped up. Out number 3. Brian O'Grady. Second big league home run. 2-0 Reds. Sponsor, longtime sponsor of Reds baseball here on Fox Sports Ohio, Ray St. Clair Roofing. Thank you for another terrific season. Coming up after the game, it'll be the final edition of Reds Live, the post-game show, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda, another longtime sponsor, and we certainly thank them for their support and partnership during this 2019 season, and we hope to continue on into the future. And standing by will be Brian Gieseslaw and Sam LeCure back in the studios in Cincinnati, and we certainly thank them for their work all season long. Great to work with you guys. Jeff Pecoro, obviously a part of pre- and post-game shows here. And Kent Dreamweaver, the main Reds Live producer. Thank you for your work this year, Kent. Ron Millenor, the all-around guy. You can ask him to do anything, whether it be produce Reds Live, Reds Weekly. He does a terrific job producing Reds Weekly, and really just the all-around go-to guy. The ruggedly handsome Ron Millenor. We thank both of them and the entire crew back there in Cincinnati. You all are terrific to work with. And thank you for a good 2019.
You know, people really don't understand how many technicians, cameramen, producers, directors, you know, not even the on-air people, but the behind-the-scenes people it takes to put a game on.
Oh, yeah.
A pre-game show, a post-game show. The double duty pulled by so many of the people involved. And I'll tell you, we've got one of the best production teams out there. It's been a pleasure to work with everybody.
Jen Herringer doing a lot of the directing. Brian Hunterman. Longtime pal Brian Hunterman doing directing. We appreciate all of you. One ball and 2 strikes, the count on Jacob Stallings. And the count will hold right there. Check swing, and down goes Stallings. Back-to-back punch-outs for Mahle. 5 of them overall. Had a good day.
Wow, this is really the way to finish. I mean, you know, he had to feel so empty after his last outing. It fell apart for him in the first inning. The Reds did leave him out there for, 2 1/3 or 2 2/3 his last outing. And it just, you know, as David Bell said in the postgame, it just wasn't his day. And sometimes you just have those days, but you hate that day to be, you know, your last outing of the year. So he gets through this inning. Maybe the Reds could hang on to this lead and get Tyler Mahle a long-sought win. He has not won a ball game since the month of May the 31st.
Base hit by Eric Gonzalez. Mahle had retired 10 in a row before that single. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Trevor Williams. Three hits now for the Pirates. Mahle had just 71 pitches, 2 outs into the 5th. All in his strike. One and two. Looper into right. Aquino went back initially and recovers. Single man left. 5 in the books. Pittsburgh.
Moment 2019. Let's head back to July 21st. And boy, how about the jerseys, right? Reds rock the sleeveless jerseys. Made famous back in the 50s. They brought them back out again in the 90s. But a bunch of the players going out even no undershirts. Just the sleeveless jerseys. I like the look. I'll tell you that. Jim, I do like the ones, though, that had the black undershirts. I think that was the 90 team. Those are pretty
99,
cool. 99, yeah, those were awesome.
Been a lot of talk this year about those uniforms, and the Reds did a great job with those throwbacks. 15 times over weekend series, and the players got a kick out of them, most of them. They weren't too keen on the ones with the collars. Those were the early ones. They loved the all-blue ones, but it really varied in opinions about which one was their favorite. And Tucker Barnhart is one, and now he's been a veteran long enough, and he signed long-term. He said that he was going to try to reach out to someone, and he knows he probably can't do it next year. You got to get approval from MLB, etc. But that they would like to have an alternate uniform. Like other teams have alternate uniforms they're wearing on Friday. The Pirates, for example, wearing an alternate uniform here today. Reds don't really have an alternate uniform beyond the red tops that they wear on day games, but a completely different alternate uniform. Pick one of those throwbacks or modify one of them and come up with another alternate uniform.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
I like the all whites.
The 69 ones.
Yeah, those were nice.
Very bright white and very clean. They just,
yeah.
If you hang it up, you know, on a hanger, it might not be your favorite one. But as far as the way it looked from a distance in the stadium on TV, those 1969 ones were awesome.
Yeah, those were nice. I like uniform. These right here that gentleman is wearing. I mean, the white homes.
Yeah.
classic logo.
Now, let's face it, it sometimes comes down to the almighty dollar, too. So if you have an alternate uniform and it's popular, they're going to sell. First at bat for Blandino, and he grounds it foul.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that worked. Did all those uniforms that the Reds wore, the throwback uniforms, were all those up for purchase by fans?
Yeah, I believe so.
Every player, every version, yeah.
Two-two pitch. Strike three called. Third strikeout for Williams. And here's Suarez. Here we are in the sixth. Bono's been lifted from this game. Who knows if they'll do the same for Suarez, although sitting one away from 50, would wonder, but maybe his last at bat in 2019 if he's lifted from the game. A good count to hit, 2-0. Reno. A 4-pitch walk to Suarez. He wanted no part. If this were Cincinnati, they'd be raining down boos on Trevor Williams right now. Gave him nothing to hit. And here's Aquino. Five straight out of the zone from Williams. One pitch. Up and in. Tied him up, and down goes Aquino. Don't miss your chance to play Texas Hold'em alongside Reds players, coaches, broadcasters Chris Welsh, and a guaranteed $11,000 first place prize. Plus, knock out a celebrity and win the autographed jersey straight off their back. Register today at Reds.com/poker.
That's actually a very good time. It
Oh, yeah.
kind of puts a capper on Reds Fest. It's one of my favorite wintertime activities.
The Rick Steiner poker tournament.
Yeah, I miss Rick a lot.
The day goes by, we don't miss him. Here's Van Meter. The drive into right center field. Suarez will be held up at third. Van Meter in there with a double. His second hit of the afternoon.
Good looking swing. We've said that an awful lot when we watch Josh Van Meter hit.
Van Meter trying to end up strong. 2 for 3 so far.
And Tom Prince.
Here comes Tom Prince,
the acting / interim manager, making his first trip.
Nope, that's
Ray Searage. I thought it looked like Prince. Those yellow and black uniforms, very slimming.
Wow.
That's all right.
I should look into that.
I played minor league ball with Ray. I can say that.
Okay, I was wondering if you
oh, yeah. Tight. Ray and I go way, 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 way back.
We'll have to send a little message to
former left-handed
Ray.
pitchers. You know, we
oh yeah, the Left-Handed Pitchers Association. Chance for Farmer here. 2 outs, 2 on. Oh for 2 for Farmer so far. A strikeout and a ground out. Long look in. First pitch strike. The Reds have had Amir Garrett warming up in the bullpen. You got to wonder if Tyler Mahle's day is done, and you'd like him to leave on a high note, which would be 5 innings, qualifying for the win. Shutout baseball. He's pitching on 3 days rest. And foul ground. Club for out number 3. Middle of the 6th. 2-0 Reds. On to game summary. Tyler Mahle making the final start of 2019, and he was good today. 5 innings, 3 hits, shutout baseball. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 5. A good way to end 2019. Aquino. Solo home run in the second, his 19th. Brian O'Grady got in on the home run act. His second big league home run in the 5th. Another solo shot. That's where we stand. 2-0. The bottom of the 6th, and Tyler Mahle will give way to Amir Garrett. Big lefty trying to finish the season on a strong note. He'll get the top of the order. Kevin Newman, if you look at the numbers of Garrett, a terrific rookie season for Newman. In fact, they got a couple of rookies. We haven't seen Brian Reynolds in this series because of injury. But Newman came in hitting .309, Reynolds .314. Last set of Major League qualifying rookie teammates to both hit at least 300 in the same season. You got to go back to 1975.
Wow.
Sharply hit to short. Fred Lynn and Jim Rice of the Red Sox. That 75 squad that lost to the Reds in the World Series. And for Reynolds, yeah, if it wasn't for Pete Alonso, you're talking about this guy for National League Rookie of the Year.
You know, the Pirates have a number of nice young position players that should give their fan base a certain amount of hope. Where they really lack is where the Reds are very strong, which is in their starting rotation and in their bullpen.
Each of those players also have 150 hits. First pair of Pirate rookies to collect at least 150 hits in the same season since 1940. And a 300 or better batting average for the Pirates. Last time 2 rookies did it, 1899. Jimmy Williams and Ginger Beaumont. Ginger Beaumont, now there's the baseball name. Fastball misses outside. 3 balls and a strike on Adam Frazier. And a walk. Don't want to walk anyone, particularly lefty on lefty. That'll bring up the switch hitting Melky Cabrera. And it gets away from Casale, enough for Frazier to advance into scoring position. A walk and a wild pitch, not what the doctor ordered. Garrett have to hurry. No play. Bobbles the baseball.
Yeah, he had time, Garrett did, if he had gone down and picked it up cleanly the first time. Sometimes, though, you're in a hurry. And you reach down, you think you have it in your focus, and then you turn your head away before your fingers actually make contact with the baseball. That's what happened right here with Garrett. Turns his head away, up. And by then, you know, you might as well put it in your back pocket.
Comes David Bell to the mound, and 2019 will end this way for Amir Garrett. It's our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Romano, the third pitcher of the afternoon for the Reds, will try to get him out of a jam. 12th game for Sal. We saw him last night pitch a scoreless inning. First and third. And the cleanup hitter Jose Osuna at the plate. Well, the Brewers might as well start warming up the plane and get it ready to head to Washington. Cardinals 9-0 over the Cubs in the 5th. Fly ball, deep center field. O'Grady at the track near the wall. This will get the run home from third. Pirates on the board.
Well, Osuna gave everybody in the ballpark here quite a thrill with that one. They looked like it kept carrying and carrying. And it did, but it was basically right into the teeth of a pretty good breeze that's blowing in. So that may have held it up to keep it in the ballpark and keep the Reds winning now by 1.
Now first base, runner on first base, 2 outs. And a 1-0 count to Pablo Reyes. Cardinals got home runs from Dexter Fowler, Matt Carpenter, Paul Goldschmidt has hit his 34th. Brewers had their chance. Cubs took care of business in the first 2 games of that series. It's a stinging loss for the Brewers last night. Trevor Story, a walk-off home run in the 11th. You were talking about this last night. You look back, you lose the division by 1 game, and you keep looking back at that game.
Oh.
Had that game or that game. Just 1 game. 1 game.
Well, even the difference between being in the playoffs and for the Brewers, they'll have to go to Washington to play, as you just said, but, you know, as opposed to hosting that game. So the advantage that you have being a home team versus an away team.
Right.
And then, but if you go right into the playoffs without having to play in the wild card game, you know, your ball club is going to make some money. That 1 game can, you know, parlay itself into a whole big wad of cash.
Romano retires the 2 batters he faces, but the Pirates get on the board. It's a 1-run game. Ceremony today honoring Bruce Bochy. He's managed 25 straight seasons with San Diego and San Francisco, and boy, what a run it's been in San Francisco. Skippered 3 World Series titles, calling it quits, at least for now, to the 2019 season. Retirement ceremony out there in San Francisco today, and we bid him adieu, at least for now.
You know, isn't it amazing what winning a World Series will do for you as a player, as a front office operative that was involved in making decisions, or especially as a manager?
Yeah.
I mean, Bruce Bochy, believe it or not, with the Giants, was managed under 500 in his career with the Giants in 13 years. Now, he was 1 game under, so you can round it out to 500. But those 3 World Series wins are what you always are going to tag him with along the way.
Oh, yeah, losing seasons in San Diego.
24 games under with San Diego. So 25 seasons overall. It just goes to show you how difficult it is to put winning seasons on the board. Clint Hurdle had a winning tenure here with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And Bruce Bochy had a losing tenure with San Francisco. No one would ever believe that if you told him that.
You're right.
Have him call me.
We certainly didn't put the record up there. We put 3 World Series titles.
Exactly.
And with 3 World Series titles, it puts you in the sentence of, all right, is this guy a Hall of Fame manager?
Yeah.
Is there any managers in the Hall of Fame that have a sub-500 record?
That I could not tell you. Probably a question for G Squared. And you're a good chance you'll see him tomorrow.
Looking forward to that. A laser of a base hit by Kurt Casale, leadoff man aboard here in the 7th for the Reds, and Brian O'Grady took a big hack on pitch number 1, looking for a 2nd home run of the game. 0-2 pitch. Trevor Williams quietly put together a solid day. Trails 2-1. Here we are in the 7th inning.
Interesting guy to watch, really. Williams, not overpowering, tops out around 92 or so. Under team control for quite a few years, not a free agent until 2023, but he still won't be eligible even for arbitration until after next season. So if he pitches like he did early in the year, the Pirates really have something.
He's run the count full to O'Grady. 95 pitches for Williams.
Williams is one game over 500 in his career, 29 and 28. He was a 14-game winner last year.
He's gone 7 innings 4 times this season, but see if he can get through the 7th here. Swing and a miss. Fifth strikeout for Williams.
It was interesting last night when they had the ceremony before the game for Steve Blass, and as part of that, you know, he was not only a great announcer and just a guy that you associate with first class and the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was a terrific pitcher.
Oh yeah,
103 games. Wins compared to 76 losses. And I'm wondering what the players thought when they heard the announcer say that Steve Blass has 57 complete games. 5-7.
Of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Blast. The entire Pirates team out of the dugout, looking up towards the press box. He's in the booth next to us. And Steve Blass, they gave him a ton of stuff. He's been throwing stuff out of the booth all afternoon to the fans down below. I was wondering as we were coming by before the game, that I'm like, they got boxes and boxes of stuff. Steve must be taking a lot of stuff home. No. And there you see his signature once again on the wall. Completing 60 seasons in the Pirates organization as a player and a broadcaster. Check him out. Unloading it all. First pitch swinging off of Joel Kuhnel. It's Jake Elmore with a leadoff base hit here in the 7th. Joel Kuhnel trying to end on a strong note. He's made a pretty good case for himself outside of 1 or 2 outings to be a serious competitor for that bullpen next year.
I really like the way the Reds used him. I have to give a lot of credit to David Bell and Derek Johnson for putting him in situations, high leverage situations, that you normally don't see a young kid just coming up in the minor leagues get into. But they needed him at some times. They were a little bit short on pitching. Kuhnel came up and threw the ball very well. Started this year in Chattanooga, where he pitched in 25 games there, went up to AAA Louisville, and was in 16 games there. I know that Derek Johnson likes what he sees there. He's got a certain presence on the mound to go along with that big fastball.
He's another guy that is coming back from illness. I don't think he's anywhere near 100% health-wise right now. Popped up. And foul ground. Kyle Farmer gloves out number 1. It'll be interesting to see what happens in 2020. The Reds will certainly be looking for bullpen help. But if you're Joel Kuhnel, and they put together their organizational depth chart as far as right-handed relievers, he has put himself up near the top going into 2020.
Well, let's face it, with the way that the teams are using relievers nowadays, you got to have a whole bevy of Joel Kuhnel somewhere. I mean, you want a hard-throwing guy that comes up out of the minor leagues and can throw strikes. And then you want another one behind him.
Two. Kuhnel gives up a leadoff single, no problem. Gentlemen, thank you. Alongside the wordsmith, Chris Welsh, I'm merely Jim Day. New pitcher for the Pirates, Richard Rodriguez, here in the 8th. And he'll get the top of the order. Raza, Blandino, Suarez due up. 1 out. We had mentioned as we take a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Ready to get lucky at Miami Valley Gaming.
Brian and Sam, thanks again. Back there in the studio, we had mentioned Jen, and we had mentioned Kent Dreamweaver and Ron Milinar. Also back there working most of the season, Don Johnson, Kyle Jenish, Kim Malenik, Jim Merkel, Randy Campbell, Andy Pierce, who has brought to you a lot of the pictures you see as a videographer on the Reds live shows and Reds Weekly. Justin Jameson, and the aforementioned Brian Hunterman. Thank you all for your hard work here in 2019. One to Blandino. Hit well.
Really
towards
well.
The wall, and Alex Blandino. Opposite field home run. Opposite field power for Blandino. First home run of 2019. That's the way to end it. And an insurance run indeed.
Got a whole bunch of this one, did Blandino. He's got some power. I mean, I don't know if he's going to hit a ton of home runs in the big leagues for you, but he certainly centers this one up into a big part of that ballpark.
And the wind slightly blowing in.
Yeah.
To go opposite field on a day like today. was a big boy fly to get it out of here. And now Suarez, perhaps his last at-bat at 2019, and popped it up. And if it is the final AB for Suarez, what a 2019 season it was. 49 home runs, 103 RBIs, and the most home runs in a single season all time by a National League third baseman. Been fun to watch, Eugenio.
Sure has. It's been fun to root and watch. You just like those guys that stay the same personality-wise, access-wise, when they have a great deal of success. Sometimes it's hard because there's so many different people. All of a sudden, you become the best player on your team, and now, you know, when you get into another city, that media wants to talk to you. You get into a national game, they want to talk to you. They're pulling you all different directions. Suarez has really handled it well.
Some more patience here from Aquino. Run the count to 3 balls and a strike. Full count. Payoff pitch. And the second time that Aquino has walked here today.
Been on 3 times.
And speaking of being on 2 times, here comes Van Meter, a single and a double to his credit so far this afternoon. Pitch.
All right, Jim Day, to follow up the question I asked you earlier, the Dodgers have 105 wins.
Yeah.
The Marlins have 105 losses. Right now, the Marlins don't look like they're going to move off that number. They are right now ahead of the Phillies 4-3 in the 8th inning. But the Dodgers are winning, beating San Francisco 5-0. So it looks like they're moving up from 105 to 106 wins. And the Marlins will finish a dreadful season on a winning note if they hold on to that 1-run lead.
Yeah. Could be a big if sometimes. So barring a miracle, Cardinals still lead the Cubs 9-0. They're in the middle of the 7th. It'll be the Brewers and the Nationals in the National League wild card game. 1 game, winner take all. Winner of that game will face the Dodgers. And it will be the Cardinals as your National League Central Division champions taking on the Braves. Should be interesting. 2-2 to Van Meter. Fly ball. Big part of the park out there, though. But Alex Blandino, 405 feet, opposite way. 3-1 Reds. Perks and benefits come along with it. You can be a Reds season ticket member by visiting Reds.com/membership. Alex Blandino has given the Reds a 3-1 lead. It has been all solo home runs here today. 3 of them. Aquino, O'Grady, Blandino. And trying to protect a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the 8th, Robert Stevenson. And he will get a pinch hitter in the 9th spot, lefty Kevin Kramer. Pitch. If you're looking back on 2019 and ahead to 2020, Robert Stevenson, one of the bright spots who really took a step forward in his career this year.
He did. And the Reds kind of went out on a limb at the very beginning of the year. We've touched on this before, but by putting him on the roster, because he didn't have hardly any innings pitched in spring training. But he was out of options, and the Reds did not want to let one of their own go, especially one with a great arm, and a lot of the coaches thought that he could really be a contributor. Little by little, they got him into more and more high leverage situations, and I would say that he is a lock solid reliever going into 2020 to be part of that bullpen and be part of the late inning part of that bullpen.
Well, if it remains the same now and no one's traded away, Lorenzen, Iglesias, Stevenson, your top 3 right-handers out of the pen going into next year. Players under control. We talked about Joel Kuhnel is going to be in that sentence. And you got to think Matt Bowman has done himself well, depending on who the Reds might go after in free agency or via trade.
Well, there's Raisel Iglesias in the dugout, which gives you a pretty good idea of what's may or may not happen in the 9th inning.
Nasty pitch by Stevenson.
Well, his slider's as good as they come right there. Or curveball, whatever you want to call that. But, I mean, it takes arm speed to impart the spin on the baseball to make it break that much. And when you throw 97 with your fastball, the arm speed is there. We always used to say that, Nolan Ryan, not only did he have the best fastball, but he also had the best curveball because of the arm speed that he had.
Top of the order now, Kevin Newman. Newman 0 for 3, a couple of strikeouts. One and one. Well, as we close out our last broadcast of 2019, we certainly like to thank those Fox Sports Ohio family. Executive producer of Fox Sports Ohio, Tom Farmer. Coordinating producer, Bob Pennell. Big Bob. And particularly like to thank those that have been in the trenches with us all season. Our heralded leader, producing most of the games here on Fox Sports Ohio, Josh Hall down in the truck. Director Brian Filippetti. As Newman delivers a line drive base hit. Pirates will bring the tying run to the plate. Uncle Roy Alfer is also directing along the way. He has been part of Reds baseball for so long. Associate producers Matt Sigafus dialing up the highlights. Jim Mueller. Associate producer also Lauren White along the way. And we've mentioned Kent Weaver before. He's been a game producer. Thank you to all, and guy that's holding it all together in the booth. Jesse Jackson is on the scene here in Pittsburgh. Thank you all for making it easy for us nerds to sit up here and talk about baseball. Those are the people that do all the hard work, and all the camera operators, all the men and women behind the scenes, not only on the road, but particularly at home. We feel like we have the best crew at baseball. Thank you, everyone, for your hard work. You have to have passion about baseball to cover it, whether it be 81 games at home or 160 game season. It's a long grind for those that put in many more hours than we do. One pitch to Frazier. Can't forget our stat guys, Joel Luckup, main stat guy at home.
One of the best ever.
Kevin Barnes.
Why don't you tell everybody who Kevin Barnes really is? We've been talking about him all year long, and
he's Tom's guy.
He's lost in anonymity. Why don't you let us in on it?
It's Tom's guy. I feel like I'm not worthy to give the explanation. We'll just leave it as one of the great baseball minds. And old school. You got to use your eyes sometimes. 3-1 pitch. Popped up. Plaza has it for out number 2. And we have want to remind you about opening night for the Blue Jackets 5 days away. Friday, season begins right here on your exclusive home for Blue Jackets hockey. Fox Sports Ohio, streaming on Fox Sports Go. And finally, we would be remiss if we didn't one more time honor the memory of John Browdy, who worked on our crew for several years, the former PR director for the Reds, former PA announcer for the Reds, has done numerous things throughout the sports community in Cincinnati. John Browdy, you will be missed, and your memory will live on. Toyota, let's go places. And by First Financial Bank, we put your success first. Learn more at bankatfirst.com. Member FDIC. PNC Park. And what we hope is the final inning of 2019 as the Reds carry a 3-1 lead into the ninth. And they will face a new pitcher, Yaxel Rios. We saw Rios in game 1 of this series pitch the scoreless inning. Farmer, Casale, O'Grady due up for the Reds. One pitch. As we close out 19, the Reds front office, the business side, did a tremendous job in the season-long celebration, 150 years of professional baseball. All the throwback uniforms and all the promotions that they came up with The send-off from Marty Brenneman. It was first class all the way, and we've grown used to it.
Yeah, we have grown used to it, and it wasn't easy at all. Had never really thought about it until I heard Phil Castellini the other day during one of the celebrations for Marty say that they had been working on the 150th anniversary year since the All-Star year.
Yeah,
because that's how much planning it took, and
right.
They wanted to make sure that they did things properly, and they did. It was really hats off to the business department with the Reds. Nobody does it better than they do.
In and out of the glove, and Casale reaches. In fact, he'll be on second base as they throw it into the camera well. Kevin Newman, pretty good effort. Ball trickled out of his glove.
Casale's hit a couple of bolts today.
Sure has.
Technically, he ends this season with an infield hit, right? They give him a hit and an error on that?
Error allowing him to go to second base. Now O'Grady. How about that Rockin' 150 party, that birthday party they had?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I was. Great idea, and again, there's so much that goes into a major league season in general, just a regular season. But when you're celebrating 150 years, I mean, truly, everyone involved did a great job under the leadership of Phil Castellini, Karen Forgas, and keeping us in line, Lori Watt.
Better believe it.
Making sure we're in the right place. We get all of our fan mail. Fan mail for you, at least. Well, sure.
I wouldn't. It's not all. I used to have a guy that would send me, I can't say fan mail, but suggestions.
Suggestions. Like a suggestion box.
And comments, critiques. But he would write it on the outside of the envelope rather than inserting a letter on the inside. He'd write everything on the outside.
Make sure you read it.
And it would start with, "You stink," and go downhill from there. Of course, not only did I read it, the mailman read it, Lori read it, everybody who touched that piece of mail read it.
It was very creative.
I haven't heard from him in a couple of years. I'm a little worried.
Well, you've upped your game. Down goes O'Grady. Second strikeout of the inning for Rios. And here comes Christian Colon to the plate. Colon was another guy that hit by that illness. In fact, I don't even think he was at the ballpark for first couple of games of this series. Pitch. Colon hitting in the pitcher spot. The Reds have Michael Lorenzen warming up. And he will be called upon to try to close this one down. Out there with Lee Tunnell, the former Pirate. Lee Tunnell recognizes these old uniforms. Check out one of his baseball cards.
One of the best ever.
Looking good. He's going to be mad that we put that up there.
I'll tell you, one of the best guys you'll ever meet, too.
Terrific.
Really.
Pitchers love him, too.
Oh.
Love the guy. He's one of those motivational guys that always has those sayings. Which I don't care who you are, they help. Especially in a long baseball season where it's as much mental as it is physical. For those pitchers, and you got to have a short memory when you're a reliever. He's got these sayings that he'll either put on a sign, put somewhere, put on the board, or just straight tell them in a meeting. And there are some classic ones. Jared Hughes would keep a journal and write every one of them down. He's got a full season of them.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's a podcast idea right there.
Oh. Wow.
In case you're looking for something to do in the off season there, Jim.
Well,
I mean, it was the
inaugural. Have to figure out if the podcast is going to be in the off season. Haven't crossed that bridge yet.
Yeah. Well, it was a terrific inaugural year for the podcast.
Thank you. Reds.com/Jim Day, shameless plug.
And they're basically evergreen. So if you haven't listened to any of them yet, you can still listen to them. Especially what did you do 3 or 4 with Marty?
He appeared on at least 56 of them.
Yeah.
No, it was 4 or 5. If you include, he had guest appearances on a couple. He and Euchre did one. Fair ball. Long throw across, offline. And Colon had an interesting path to first base. He looped into the grass. I think he thought maybe that got past third base. I don't know. Well, we saw it gloved, but maybe he was trying to avoid a potential tag. Either way, he's aboard first and third, 2 outs. Jose Peraza at the plate. Ground ball. Much easier play this time for Gonzalez. Here we go to the bottom of the ninth. Michael Lorenzen trying to save it. Museum presented by Densmore. Thanks to the HCS Foundation. Kids 12 and younger will enjoy the Hall of Fame and Museum for free. All new things in there, including that 360-degree interactive theater, 9 brand new exciting galleries, and more. For details, visit redsmuseum.org. Michael Lorenzen called upon in the ninth. He's our Tri-State Buick GMC dealer, key performer. 105th game played this season, and we emphasize played. Not just a pitcher, outfielder, pinch hitter, pinch runner. He has done it all. And fittingly, the guy that has done the most as far as variety, called upon to save the final game.
Well, he's got 6 saves on the year. He has 73 games pitched this year, Lorenzen does.
Osuna, Reyes, Elmore due up for the Pirates. And the 1-1 to Osuna, and it's a looper that will fall. Leadoff man aboard. Tying run will come to the plate. First pitch to Reyes is in for a strike. 1 for 3 is Reyes. Singled back in the second. Oh, 1 pitch. Back Back-to-back strikes. Up and in. Couple of breaking balls and a fastball to brush him back off the plate. 1-2. Into right center field. O'Grady had it all the way. Shading that way and got a good jump. 1 out. Jake Elmore comes to the plate. We gave all those thank yous to our crew out there. Our biggest thank you, of course, is to you, the viewer. Once again, the ratings were terrific this season. It wasn't the year that the Reds were looking for as far as the record goes, but our numbers here on Fox Sports Ohio were amongst the best in baseball, and we thank each and every one of you. Reds country still alive and well.
You know, Jim, it's the one thing that we're reminded of time and time again, and you probably more than anybody with all your people down at the condo after the ball games. You realize that there are so many people that, you know, they schedule their evenings around Reds baseball.
No doubt.
You know, they schedule their vacations around coming to Cincinnati to watch the Reds play. So thank you to all those diehard fans out there that put up with us the whole year long.
Can't tell you the amount of people that come up to me and say, whether we're watching or listening or it's just background noise.
Yeah.
You guys are in our houses every night. I feel like you're a part of the family. Now, albeit I'm probably the creepy uncle of the family. But you're right. It's appointment watching in Reds country. And we just thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Indeed. 57 one-run games this year. Wow. Unless the Pirates score another run right here, that make it 58. But 57, that is a big number.
2-1 pitch. It's official now. The Cardinals have defeated the Cubs 9-0. They are your National League Central Division champions. Brewers winning 3-2, but that no longer matters. Aquino has this one. 2 outs. So here's how they'll go into the playoffs. On each side, Brewers and Washington, 1 game take all. It'll be in Washington. Max Scherzer, the Brewers will face. The winner of that will face the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Braves in the best of 5. In the American League side, the Rays and the A's in that wild card game. Winner gets the Astros. The surprising Twins will face the Yankees. Looking forward to the 2019 postseason. Love postseason baseball. Kirk Casale out to talk to Michael Lorenzen. Jacob Stallings will be the batter. And Lefty, my final thank you is to you. Thank you for putting up with me again this year. Thanks to Tom Brenneman, by the way, who occupies his seat most of the time. Hard act to follow, but Chris, pleasure to work with you.
Same here, Jim. It's been a real pleasure to work with you. You make it fun every night, and that's what it's all about.
There goes the runner. And it'll be defensive indifference. Reds aren't worried about that run. They're worried about the one at the plate, Jacob Stallings. And Lorenzen ahead, no balls and a strike. Oh, 1 pitch. 1-1 pitch. Grounded towards Suarez. Long throw across, and that's the old ball game. So the Reds finish up 2019 with back-to-back wins and a series victory over the Pirates here in Pittsburgh. 3-1, your final score, and Tyler Mahle gets his first win since May. So a good way for him to go into the offseason, as 2019 now in the books. And the 75th win of the season for the Reds. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us all season long. We've got more business to do. It's Reds Live, the post-game show, and it's coming up next here on Fox Sports Ohio.